Slog FPV. Today we're looking at the Flywoo Firefly Hexacopter. It's a pretty interesting little model. We're going to be going through the specs real quickly. We're going to be talking about how to add a buzzer, and I think that's pretty critical in little tiny models like this. You can really easily lose them in tall grass, and the D-shot beacon just isn't loud enough if you're in tall grass, so I think it's worthwhile to add a buzzer. We're going to go through the pros and cons, and then we'll wrap it up with my final thoughts as to whether or not this model is something you might want to purchase. So in the box you get some instructions, including a pinout of the flight controller stack and ESCs. You get some spare nuts and bolts. You get props, and looks like you get some tie wraps, and then you get the quad itself, which seems to be nicely packaged. So I got the Crossfire version, and yeah, it was packaged pretty nicely, and quite a bit in the kit, with enough props for spares as well. So my first impressions of this hexacopter: it is tiny. You can see it fits right in the palm of my hand. Going through the specs, the wheelbase is 90 millimeters. The flight controller is the Goku Hex F4 16x16, and then it also has the Goku 16x16 13 amp 4-in-1 ESC on the bottom. The motors are the Flywoo Robo 1202.5 500 kV motors. The props are HQ 40 millimeter 4-bladed props. The camera on the front is the Caddx Ant, and you can adjust the camera angle from 15 to almost 90 degrees. The VTX is again Goku, which is a Flywoo VTX. It's the VTX 625, capable of up to 450 milliwatts. It does come with a Flywoo atomic antenna, and the weight that it is spec'd at is 57.9 grams. I was measuring without a battery 67 grams, but actually 66 grams with a camera mount and a heavier battery strap and a buzzer. So my weight came out higher. The all-up weight with the Insta360 and a Tattoo 450 milliamp hour for its battery is coming in at 139 grams. Since I'm going to go ahead and put this Insta360 mount on this thing, link below as far as the Firefly Hex Nano TPU mount for the 360 Go, I'm going to go ahead and add a buzzer. This thing, because it's so small, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and put one of these buzzers on. So I'll go ahead and show you how to mount the Insta360, as well as put a buzzer on this thing, which it gets lost in tall grass. That's always helpful. As you can see in the pinout, here's the buzzer negative, and then here's the plus 5 volts. So that's what you're going to solder onto those particular pads for the buzzer. So it's pretty simple, only 2 wires. So to remove the top plate, I removed the screws on the top here on the front, but instead of removing the screw that held on the antenna and TPU mount on the top plate, so I didn't have to mess with that, I went ahead and just undid the screw on the bottom of the standoff here. That way I could just lay it on its side and go ahead and solder on the buzzer and put on the TPU mount for the Insta360 Go. So I tinned the leads on the buzzer. The longer lead is the positive, and it's actually labeled with the sticker. Next I'll put on some heat shrink tubing. Heat shrink tubing installed. So the soldering is a little tight, but got it on. When I'm soldering with these tiny pads, I highly recommend this ViFly smoke stopper. It's easy to short pins out because they're very close together. So this thing is always a good insurance to have. So looks like the buzzer is working. All right, so I have the buzzer installed. As you can see, I used a tie wrap to hold it into place so it doesn't get into the props, and used a little bit of Loctite on the screws that hold in the Insta360 TPU mount. And so things turned out real slick. It looks real nice. So the first thing we're going to do is try and see if there's any sort of prop redundancy with this hexacopter. I have one prop missing, and we're going to be flying in angle mode. All right, so it's flying. It's flying with one prop missing. Let's do it some more. Oops. All right, all props on. Yeah, much better. So let's wrap this review up. The Firefly is a lot of power in a very small package, and for a 40mm quad or hexacopter, it does great at hauling around an Insta360. The video feed is very clear, and I like the Caddx Ant as far as detail. And I don't mind the color. Some people don't particularly like the Ant color, but it doesn't bother me. The tune is very good. It just had a slight bit of prop wash with the Insta360. You really had to bring it out by kind of forcing it. And another pro, this thing flies very easy in angle mode. So I think a beginner could definitely fly this hexacopter. In acro mode, I think it's a beast for its size. Even carrying the Insta360 camera, it's very fun to fly in acro. And I think as far as a 40mm hex multi-rotor, I think it does a great job. In fact, I like it better than some of my 40mm whoops. And I think that's because of its mass, and with another 2 motors, it gives it extra grunt. And lastly, I think the flight times was more than what I expected. Yes, you have more total disk area, but I thought that maybe that would be offset by the extra weight of the 2 motors. But I was very pleased that I was getting 4 minutes, 45 seconds approximately, and that was with mixed acro type flying. And without the Insta360 camera, I was getting over 5 minutes. And so that is really decent flight time. And that's with 450 milliamp hour Tat2 battery here. So the cons. I don't think the beta flight setup had some issues. It was minor, but it was really set up for the iNav version. I have the TBS Crossfire version. And the other problem that I thought was not too good was the strap was totally useless that it comes with. And I highly recommend you either use rubber bands or go with a different strap that you can cinch it down like I did here. I mean, I know that's a nit, but was a little aggravating for me. Also, you expect with a hexacopter that you get some sort of redundancy. I actually thought that in angle mode that I would have some redundancy with losing a motor. And yes, I could get it to fly, but the minute I tilted it just a little too far one way or the other, it would flip over. So there really is no redundancy like you would expect from a hexacopter for a motor failure. And then lastly, unless you get the prop guards, I wouldn't recommend this thing for flying indoors. So it's not something that you're gonna take in your house. So those are my cons. So let's talk about whether or not this is something that you might want to purchase. So I really like this hex, and it is one of my favorite 40mm prop size quad for carrying the Insta360. I love how smooth it flies. It's very fun to fly. And I was really pleased at how well it flies acro. So if you're into something that's very compact, that fits in the palm of your hand, can carry an Insta360, I think this is definitely something you might want to consider. So next I'm going to show you a quick flight, and as always, thanks for watching my channel.